What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Shred Show live with me, Josh Pitts, and a very special friend of mine, Raquel Borras, joining me this morning. You know her, you love her, you've seen her on LinkedIn, you've seen her on Facebook, and I am very excited. Her and I have collaborated on a lot of things, and this is the first time I've had her on my show, and I'm honored, I'm humbled, because she's absolutely brilliant when it comes to branding and marketing, and that's what we're here to talk about for you this morning to help your brand go. Raquel, welcome to the Shred Show live. Thanks so much for hanging out with me this morning.
Oh my, is it bad that my heart's beating really fast?
No, that's totally normal. Mine is too.
I've been really nervous in a really long time.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
I'm like, I'm live. This is so exciting.
Kind of freaking out a little bit. You're like, oh
okay,
gosh.
I take this stuff very seriously. So before we move further, okay, so any excuse to wear a hat, because you get to wear a hat.
Yes.
Okay. And you're Callie. And then just because I'm trying to campaign, I don't know if you can see this.
I want a Shredfluencer. Oh my gosh. Yes, I am sending you a Shredfluencer shirt. Done. Guys, you want to get something done.
I love Josh on the side and I have a on the bottom. So
you are amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, our newest Shredfluencer, Raquel Borras. I'm so excited to have you on my show. That was brilliant. Oh my gosh. That's why I love hanging out with you and talking with you, because you are always full of surprises. And that literally perfectly leads us into what we're talking about, Raquel, because you are absolutely brilliant when it comes to putting out content, when it comes to making videos, and that's really what's helped your brand grow. And I want you to kind of share your story. Over the last year and a half, you've gone through this transition, and that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the show and talk about it, because everybody thinks, number one, it's too late to start putting out content. There's like, what do I put out? It's too late to put out content. But you and me think exactly the same of the contrary. Now couldn't be a better time. So for those who don't know you, again, if you don't know Raquel, you should definitely follow her on LinkedIn, on Facebook, because she puts out amazing content. She talk about enthusiasm. She's one of those people like me, has a ton of enthusiasm, always is smiling. And so when I'm hanging out, like, I can't help but smile when I'm hanging out with you, Raquel. So tell everybody if they don't know you, tell us a little bit about Raquel, your journey in our industry, and now how you got to where you are now.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to age myself. I'm going to be 45 years old this year. So it goes to show you it's never too late. Everyone thinks it has to be a millennial or a Generation Z. Not the case. But I'm actually newer to the mortgage industry. I think I started maybe 5 years ago, and I did different positions: business development, client relations manager. And then last year, I was given the opportunity to be a brand relations manager / social media manager for a mortgage company. So obviously having that be my job to bring awareness, brand awareness to the company, I was being paid to get out there, right? Because getting made fun of all the time. You're everywhere, you're all over social media. And I'm like, well, I'm getting paid to do it. But something we had discussed earlier is that I am an artist. I have a creative background. I come from an artistic family, and I was an art history major. So I'm a very creative person. My brother, I'm sporting his shirt. He designed this shirt. So he's too. But coming from that type of world, when you're in the mortgage industry, it's hard to find your place. And so it was exciting for me last year to be put in this position, because it allowed me to suddenly be in this space where I could be creative.
Sure.
And that's so I just took it. And now that I'm on my own, I can take it even further, because now I have 100% creative control of my own brand. But yeah, it just kind of organically happened in a way where I just slowly realized, like, I just want to be me. I want to show the world who I am. Just because I'm in the mortgage space doesn't mean I have to keep myself in certain lanes, for instance. And here I am.
Well,
Facebook Live.
Yes, we're jamming out. We're shredding this morning, which reminds me, if you're just joining us live, make sure you comment. Or if you're live, there's so many people. Raquel, you brought an audience with you this morning. We got so many people hanging out with us live. So if you're joining us live, if you're hanging out, make sure you comment #shred. You're here, you're shredding with me and Raquel this morning. And if you're joining us on the replay, make sure you comment #hustle, because you're out there hustling, getting it done. So you mentioned this creativity, and so many people think that, again, you have to be like over the top creative to start building a brand, to start building awareness. But there are great people like you who are creative, but at the same time, like, you just have to be you. And I think that's what you have done so perfectly, is you weren't trying to put on this persona. You weren't trying to be somebody you weren't.
I wasn't first though. I was at first.
You were.
Like everybody else, I was at first.
So, and that's what I want to talk about. So talk about that. So talk about that transition where you were trying to be somebody, but now you're just you. And I think from what I've seen, your audience has just continued to grow in a very organic and a very real way, a lot faster. So talk about that. You kind of mentioned it from your start of kind of being paid to be out there, but now you just get to do it for you. So talk a little bit about that transition, what that looked like.
Well, obviously at first, I'm representing a company,
Sure.
You have to be professional. You're representing somebody else. But at the same time, the company that had hired me knew already who I was. And so they appreciated that about me, which was fantastic. So that also allowed me to kind of transition, showing a little bit of my personal side. But that was the thing is as soon as I started showing more of my personal side and people started kind of connecting with me in a way where they're like, oh, wow, it's so refreshing what you do, especially in the mortgage space, right? Because it's getting much better. But for the longest time, we were used to seeing the same thing all day long. And so suddenly when you have someone like me that's a little kooky, quirky, a little crazy that comes on the scene, I guess you can't help but notice. And whether it's good or bad, believe me, it's not all good.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, like I just had to be me. And I can't tell you like how amazing it feels to be able to just be me out on social media and have people accept me for who I am. And so I think, when I transitioned to my own company, that's why it's called True to You branding, because I want people just to be true to themselves. Like you'd be surprised. People just want to see you. Like people think they want you to be a certain way, but that's not the case. I don't know where we got this perception, this idea that we have to be somebody else in order to impress, please, do business. I think we need to like totally wipe that out.
I am so glad because this is something I literally get asked all the time. And this is why I call people shredfluencers. And we kind of come up with that term is because this idea that you're talking about that people have to be a fictional character or they have to be an actor on screen or on social media. You have some of these influencers who have done it the wrong way. They're sitting in front of Lamborghinis and Ferraris and planes. So people feel like they have to be fake. They have to feel like they have to post those pictures. And I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever seen me post a picture like that? Have I ever? I never will. Like I just won't. Have I had opportunities to drive nice cars and do nice things? Sure. But you don't have to have that fake persona. And maybe if that's your lifestyle, I'm not bashing it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
But that's you, and that's your life. Own it. Like,
sure. So Grant Cardone, let's just talk about Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone's a perfect, like the dude's has more money than he knows what to do with. He's always posting lavish pictures of him in his jet and him traveling. That's him. Like he can do that, but you don't need to be Grant Cardone. You don't need to be somebody like that. If you're Raquel Borras, if you're Josh Pitts and you're living a normal life, your audience is going to be the one. That's who you're trying. You're not trying to get in front of Grant Cardone's audience. You're trying to get in front of your audience and really keep their attention. And I think this True to You branding, which we're going to talk about more here in just a sec, this idea is just such a cool idea. And it's just, you have to be, people talk about the word authentic right now. You have to be you. You have to be genuine. And the more genuine you are on social media, people connect with you. And I think they do it in a much more organic and much faster way. So True to You branding, you mentioned you were doing marketing for a company, you were doing social media for a company. Now you've made this transition as an entrepreneur. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this by myself. I mean, I'm sure there's some scared moments, a little bit of timidness going into it, but how has that transition been? Has it been difficult? Tell us the honest truth.
I'm actually extremely humbled by the experience so far. I think this is my 4th week, so maybe I'm a month in. And I can't even tell you. I mean, obviously, when I made the transition, I knew there was a need there.
Sure.
I talked to people, I had a conversation and everything because I needed to know that if I'm going to go out on my own, that people need my services, right? So I knew that there were people out there that need me. But let me tell you, as soon as I announced it, every single day I'm getting people reaching out to me. Hey, I want to do business with you. Hey, can we talk? Every day. I mean, at least several people. So the demand is so much bigger than I ever thought. And it's not just in the mortgage real estate industry. I thought for sure I was going to be niched in that space and I was going to be kind of boxed in. I mean, I have a client now that's a dentist and I was working with her yesterday. I did some videos with her. I have other clients that are out of the industry as well. And it's incredible. So I'm definitely humbled because, most people that start their own business are right away having to look for it or at least putting themselves out there like, hey, I'm doing this. No, that's the thing with the power of social media. I already had a presence. I already had people knowing what I was doing. So as soon as I announced it, it's like people just jumped on board, be like, okay, well, now we want you to work with us.
That's awesome.
Now that I'm on my own. So it's absolutely incredible. It is scary. I definitely am living out of my comfort zone every single day. That I'm not going to lie about. It's definitely different, but I'm so happy.
But you're doing it, and that's you're literally embodying the essence of what a shredfluencer is. You got to show up, you got to hustle, you got to repeat every day. Are there parts that you're scared of? Absolutely. Are there parts where you're a little unsure? Of course, but you learn every single day. You get better, and I think people underestimate themselves, and that's what I love you sharing. That going into this, I'm sure you were a little bit like, oh my gosh, what are people going to say? How are they going to react? But then as soon as you put yourself out there, you're like, oh my gosh. And we were talking about Brittany Hodak actually, and we talked about super fans. You really find out who your super fans are when you go out and do something like you've done.
Yes. I hope Brittany's like eventually on here because she said she was going to be. And I know she is a huge fan base herself. So I'm a super fan of hers.
I need to have her on a live. I've never had her on a live, but I actually just posted a clip of her and I just a few weeks ago that her and I recorded just the other day. Brittany is she's one of those people who, just like you, that just when it comes to branding and being yourself, she talks about it. She's
so modest and humble, and she's not trying to be anybody else. And that's why people connect with her. That's why when I connected with her a while ago, I automatically was like, I like this chick because I know that she's going to be who she is when she's off camera or off social media. And that was something that I tell people all the time. The biggest compliment that I can receive is that when people meet me and they're like, oh my gosh, you're just like you are on your videos or on your social media. And I tell them, duh, because that is me. Yep. That's the whole point, is to show that it doesn't matter off the camera. I'm going to be the same goofball that I am.
And I think that's what's key is, and especially you mentioned this in the very beginning, when it comes to a professional industry like mortgage or real estate, sometimes people think that they have to be that buttoned up suit and tie all the time, which honestly is just not the case. And as a matter of fact, your audience 99% of the time, they don't perceive you in that way. You're not the buttoned up tie person that they know, especially your friends, family, and the people who are closest with you. They don't perceive you in that way. Sometimes I think we mix up the idea of like, oh, well, the rest of the industry is acting or dressing this way, so I need to fit that part. I need to play the part. When again, in actuality, we're not trying to resonate with the mortgage audience. We're trying to resonate with the people that are following us on social media, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, which that's where I want to direct the next part of our conversation is you've used all the social media platforms. It looks like LinkedIn for me, and watching you on LinkedIn, that's kind of been your strongest platform. But which one of the social media platforms has kind of been that one for you that you've really connected with and you found your niche audience on?
LinkedIn. And oddly enough, the reason why I got on LinkedIn, so at the time, I think I had been divorced maybe like 3 years. And so I had gotten off Facebook as soon as I got divorced because I was, typical. I'm like, I don't want to hear all this stuff, right? So I got off of Facebook. Instagram still hadn't launched yet. I think maybe Instagram was 2014. I don't remember. So once again, aging myself. And I just did Twitter. So LinkedIn was that one platform where I thought, and this is once again perceiving, I'm just newly divorced. I didn't have a career before. I was a stay-at-home mom. So I'm like, okay, now I got to start a career. So I got to get on LinkedIn because I want to be taken seriously. I want to find a career. And so that's what happened is I got on LinkedIn because I wanted to be perceived in a certain way. Thinking that's how I was going to get a job. Even though I had a job, right? But yeah, so it just goes back to, I started out with false pretenses, if you will.
That's so, and most of us do. And that's just it is so many of us. LinkedIn, I think, has been one of those, and I'd love your thoughts on this. LinkedIn, so many people think it is, of course, it's a professional network. Well, I'm not saying it's not, but a lot of people think that it has to be business all the time. And I think that's where a lot of mistakes are made, is that people think that they can't be their real self on there. They have to be that, like I mentioned earlier, that buttoned up kind of tie and suit type person, when in actuality, you don't. Would you agree?
I agree. And hey, I love to get dressed up. If you looked at my closet, I have maybe like 50 blazers and slacks. Like people know I love suits. So believe me, any opportunity that I have to wear a suit, like if I'm at a conference or on a, speaking, I'll wear the suit. I love it. But at the same time, that's not me all the time. I want to be able to, get on here live and wear one of my brother's shirts and I have yoga pants on and, just like
be you, just be you.
Like in my home sitting on 2 pillows, having my computer against the window, like
it's awesome. We literally talked about this. I wish sometimes people could see the behind the scenes of like getting set up. And I've shared this with our audience before, but there has been times where like to get my camera in the right light and so it could actually see me, I was like putting garbage cans up in hotels to put my camera on top of a garbage can because I forgot my tripod or this or that. And it just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, like you don't have to have the top of the line equipment to do this. Like you can set up your phone or your computer, just use what you have. You don't have to go, you're not a production. You don't have to be a Steven Spielberg and produce a beautifully looking video. Just put yourself out there in the best way that you can and, build from there. Yes. So now something that you've done a lot of is video. You do a lot of video and it seems to connect with your audience. And it seems like you do a lot of shorter videos. It seems like that resonates with your audience.
Yes. I mean, just talking to a lot of my colleagues and friends, it seems like their attention spans are just pretty short. So I try to keep it at 2.5 minutes. I mean, I remember I did a video 2 weeks ago and it was 5 minutes long and I needed to preface it in the beginning. Hey guys, I'm getting on a soapbox. This is going to be long. Like, if you don't want to hear me, just move on. And it was 5 minutes. So how sad is that I have to actually warn people that, they have to pay attention for 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I keep them kind of short and sweet.
But I think that's just it. And I think sometimes people, because you have shows so my show typically goes like, we're about 17 minutes right now. Sometimes people think they have to do a show or a podcast or something that's, you have guys like Joe Rogan where I heard a statistic recently where his average show is like 2 hours and 32 minutes long. And I'm like, holy cow, like none of us are Joe Rogan, number one. And like he has some insane guests, but you don't have to put out this long content. You don't have to put out these long videos as clearly you've seen these shorter pieces of content, these shorter, what I like to call micro content. People like that. We have short attention spans. They're not going to stay around for 20 or 30 minutes all the time. Those short little bits and pieces plus we get to know Raquel in that type of way. So.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, obviously in videos where it's at. So if I'm going to be putting out a lot of video, I can't have every video be like 10 minutes. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why I actually am trying to get over on the YouTube channel so that I can do longer videos over there because I think it's expected and it's okay. But I tell people if you have something important to say and it's a really good story, they're going to listen. Believe me, like the people that I love that I follow like on Instagram and other platforms like Chrissy Teigen and Jennifer Gardner, I could watch them all day long. I mean, seriously, because I connect with them and I love what they make me laugh and they're themselves. And so I tell people, if you have something great to say, people will listen.
Right. That is actually probably one of the best things. People are out there. People are listening. I actually had a conversation with somebody else earlier today. He's a writer. And he said, sometimes we think that people if we don't put it out there, people aren't going to see it. They're not going to read it. You just have to start putting content out there for people to see. And the people that actually like it, that's your audience. Great. Yeah. If they don't like it, that's totally okay.
There's 17 billion people in this world.
Exactly.
Like, have an audience.
Yeah, everybody, even if you think you're the weirdest, most like awkward person in the world, there's somebody that's going to be like, oh my gosh, like
you have a better audience than the rest.
Yes. So don't be scared. And you mentioned YouTube. Actually, we have a lot of a big YouTube audience today. So thanks for joining us on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, joining us, thanks.
My channel.
We're all over. I say subscribe to. Let's go to that next. So, but again, coming back to everybody that's watching, thanks for joining us on this show. Again, if you're just joining us, we got Raquel Borras with us, hanging out. We've been talking about true to you branding, building your brand, and we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Vimeo, all across different channels. And thanks everybody for joining us. And if you're joining us, make sure you comment #shred. And we would love it if you share this with your audience, which that's what I want to talk about next to kind of wrap things up, Raquel. If people want to learn more about true to you branding and what you're doing and how they can get involved, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
So being, once again, super transparent human being that I am still trying to figure out like my website. I have a domain, but the website isn't set up. So I'm right now literally just giving people my phone number, and they have my email like on LinkedIn, or their Facebook instant messaging me. I mean, it's just super grassroots right now, you guys. But that's kind of like why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to show that you don't have to be over the top in order to be successful. You can still, do your thing and not have, everything set up right away. So
everybody starts somewhere. Bill Gates and those guys started in a garage. So everybody's got to start somewhere. Yeah. So connect with Raquel on LinkedIn, Instagram. Are you on Instagram as well?
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and everything's under my name, Raquel Borras. I don't have any fancy handles. That's one thing about branding. I don't remember who told me this, but they said, maybe it was Chelsea. Is it Pete's? Is that who
Pites. Chelsea Pites.
Chelsea. Sorry, Chelsea. I love you. Chelsea Pites. I did one of her webinars, and because of her, I changed my Instagram handle because it was at Rocky875. And she's like, for your brand, when people Google you, they want you to be able to find you easily. So you want to have your name. So I actually changed it over to Raquel Borras because of her. And then everything else is remaining just Raquel Borras. Nothing fancy.
You mentioned some really powerful women on this. You got yourself, you got Brittany Hodak, you got Chelsea Pites, you got some great people, some great women doing some awesome things. So
yeah, I'm super lucky.
So Raquel, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I love what you're doing, True to You branding. I'm so excited to continue to collaborate with you and I, because there's so many things that you and I are doing together. And guys, be willing to collaborate. Although Raquel and I are working on similar projects, there's still opportunity to help one another, to grow. Actually, I want to end with this because I had somebody tell me it's kind of like the hip hop lifestyle. If you're into hip hop, or maybe you're not, but the biggest artists in the world get together to collaborate on different projects. They share each other's albums. That's how they help one another.
J-Lo at the Super Bowl,
right.
Perfect example.
Perfect example, Shakira. And whether you like their performance or not, there's so much controversy. Look, you got two superstars who got together to collaborate. You think they're not competitors? You bet they are, but they still collaborated. And I'm so very grateful for Raquel coming on and sharing everything that she knows and giving great value to everyone. So thank you so much. We love you, Raquel. We're proud of you. We're excited to watch you grow.
And remember, don't forget my Shredfluencer t-shirt or cap.
Hold on. Watch this. Hold on. Keep them entertained. Hold on. Watch this. Hold on.
Keep them entertained. Oh gosh. I can dance, but I can't sing. And I'm not going to.
Here it is. Here it is. There it is right there.
Hey, it's black
there
and
you go.
I love it.
That is on its way to you.
Not to get what you want.
You have to ask, or you're never going to get it. Oh, I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been an incredible episode. And again, if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that like button, share it out there to your audience, because again, we need you. And it's all because of you that we get to continue to do what we love. So as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time to go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.